Hey guys, this is Mr. Breen, and in this video I'm going to be talking about marginal analysis. Many of the decisions you make are sort of either-or decisions. Either a chocolate ice cream cone, because that's what chocolate ice cream cones look like, or a mint chocolate chip that you just have to imagine the chocolate chips and that your waffle cone is black. Either this or this, and it's sort of a qualitative difference, and you just choose the one that you like more or the one that you feel like on that day. But a lot of the decisions that you make are really questions of how much of something you're going to do. How many scoops? How much do the scoops cost? I don't know. These how much questions are much more difficult than the either or sort of black or white questions. Because, do I get 10 scoops? There's a lot of, 10 scoops are much cheaper on average than one scoop, but I'm not going to eat 10 scoops. These involve a lot more things, but we have a way of making them easier. All right, let's take the following situation. Let's say that it's the night before a test, and you could either study for the test or you could watch episodes of your favorite show. Now you face the following series of trade-offs. If you watch 0 episodes and you spend all your time studying, that means you get 100% on your test. And if you watch 1 episode and spend the rest of your time studying, 97. And if you watch 2 episodes and spend the rest of your time studying, you get a 92, and so on down to 5 episodes and you only get a 60%. Okay, now this up here is not enough information for us to be able to decide how many episodes you should watch and how much you should study. We need to know how much you value these episodes versus how much you value these test grades. So let's say that, and I've provided you with some information down here, let's say that if you had to, you would be willing to pay $10 to watch each episode. I realize this is unrealistic, but let's just say that you would be willing to pay $10. And let's say that for each percent of a test grade, you would be willing to pay $1. If there were a market for such things, which there is not, but if there were, you would be willing to pay $1 for each percent on your test, which again, I know is unrealistic, but let's just say that you would be able to do that. Now we have enough information. Well, one way of doing this would be to say, well, if I watch 0 episodes and get 100 on my test, well, each percent is worth $1. So I get $100 worth of benefit. I would have been willing to pay $100 for that result. If I watch one episode, and I get a 97, well, I get $10 worth of happiness from that episode, and I get $97 worth of happiness from the test grade, so that is $107. Hey, that's better. I better watch an episode, at least one. For 2 episodes, I get $20 from the episode's worth of happiness, $20, 2 times 10, and I get $92, 92 times $1, worth of happiness from the test grade, so that is 112. That's even better, so I'm going to do that one. I'm going to watch another episode. From 3 episodes, that's $30, and 85% on my test is another $85, so 85 plus 30 is 115. $40 from 4 episodes, 75. That is also 115. I can't decide between those. 5 episodes and 60 on your test grade. That's $110. That's actually worse. So I'm not going to watch 5 episodes. Okay, now here's the thing. There's an easier way. Instead of calculating all that stuff out, and I know how much you guys love calculation, but if you want to avoid that kind of stuff, we could just assume that we start off watching 0 episodes and then look at the marginal cost of watching each episode and the marginal benefit of watching each episode. Now, marginal cost is just the cost of the last one that you did. So if you watch 4 episodes, the marginal cost would be the cost of only the 4th episode. Same thing with marginal benefit. If you watch 4 episodes, the marginal benefit is the extra benefit you get from watching the 4th episode only. Let me show you what I mean. So for 0 episodes, there's no such thing as marginal cost or marginal benefit. You're not watching any. But if you go on to watch the first one, well, the marginal cost was $3 because you lost 3 percentage points, and each percentage point you value at $1. But the marginal benefit, well, that's $10. Because each episode is worth $10 to you. Before you weren't watching any, but now you added $10 of benefit. The marginal cost of the second one is another $5. Oops, $5. It doesn't look like a dollar sign, but it is. And the marginal benefit is still 10. Guess what? The marginal benefit's always going to be 10. Okay, because each episode you value at $10. So every new one you watch, you get $10 more worth of benefit. But the marginal cost of The third episode, well, that's 92 minus 85 is $7. 85 minus 75 is $10. That's the cost of that episode. And the fifth episode costs you another 15. Now it's pretty easy to figure out how many episodes we should watch. Let's add up what we'll call profit. How much better off are you from watching, so there's no such thing as 0 episodes, but for one episode, well, the marginal benefit was $10, but the marginal cost was $3. So you actually come out $7 ahead, okay, of where you were from there. Now, the second episode, you got $10 worth of benefit, and it cost you $5 worth of benefit, so you come out ahead by $5 compared to that situation. For the third episode, you're ahead by $3 compared to this situation. And for the fourth, well, you're ahead by $0 compared to that situation. And over here, you're at negative $5 compared to that situation. So how many episodes should you watch? Well, now the question is easy. As long as you come out ahead compared to where you would have been before, you should continue watching episodes. So the first episode you should watch because it only costs you 3, but it gets you 10 in terms of enjoyment. And the second episode costs you 5, but it gives you 10, so you're ahead by 5. The third episode, you're ahead by 3 because it costs you 7, but you get $10 out of it worth of enjoyment. The fourth episode, actually, you should be totally indifferent, right? And before you tell me, oh, but I'll watch the fourth episode because I like episodes better than studying for a test, we already accounted for that. You like episodes worth $10, and you like your test percentages each worth $1. So we already accounted for that. So you should actually really, truly be indifferent between watching 3 and 4, but the fifth one you should never watch, right? Because you get $10 worth of enjoyment out of it, but you're going to lose $15 worth of enjoyment. By the way, if you rewind this video back to the previous slide, you'll notice that watching one episode was $7 better than watching $0, or 0 episodes, and 2 episodes was $5 better than watching 1 episode, and 3 episodes was $3 better than watching 2 episodes, and 4 episodes was exactly the same as watching 3 episodes, and 5 episodes put you down by $5 compared to 3 and 4. Now, we could actually reverse engineer this situation. What I mean by that is, if we know what somebody's actual choice was, let's say they chose to watch 2 episodes, and they also have really good information about their different trade-offs, we could also tell you how much they value episodes versus how much they value their test grade. Before I get into the very simple way of how to do that, let's eliminate the middleman down below. Down here we said episodes were worth $10 to you and the test percentage was worth $1. Let's forget about that. What we really mean is that each episode was worth 10% on your test to you. So for this person who chose only 2 episodes, let's see how much of a percent test grade each episode is worth to this person rather than to you, because it's clearly going to be different. If this is true, you were indifferent between 3 and 4 episodes, but this person only chose 2. So let's go ahead and say, well, we know the marginal cost. The marginal cost is nothing there, but 3 there, 5, 7, 10, and 15. Now, if this person chose to watch 2 episodes, that means they didn't choose to watch 0, so it must have been, they chose to watch at least 1, so it must have been worth more than 3%. That episode must have been worth more than 3% of a test grade to them. And they chose to watch the second one, so it must have been worth at least 5% to them. But they didn't choose to go on to the third one, so it couldn't have been so high as 7%. Let me make this even more explicit. It made sense for them to do the first one, and it made sense for them to do the second one. It did not make sense to do the third, and therefore to do the fourth or the fifth. So it must be that each episode for them is between 5 and 7%. That's how much it's worth. That means that this person compared to the previous person, this person compared to this person doesn't value the episodes as highly, or they value the test percentage more highly. After all, the second person was only willing to trade, say, maybe 6% or 5.5% of a test grade for each episode, whereas this person was willing to trade 10 whole percentage points on a test for each episode. This kind of analysis, going from the costs and benefits of each next unit to the costs and benefits of the next unit rather than trying to deal in totals, this is marginal analysis.